Welcome back to Clarets Walk. Hope you're all well as can be anyway, after six straight defeats. Where do we go from here? Burnley fans have shown lots of anger towards lots of things this week, but Scott Parker is now definitely getting it in the neck. Is the Fulham game now his chance to save his job? We've got Jordan, Dan, and the returning combat Connor back with us to give their view. And coming up this week, then we'll talk about the Newcastle game. What did we learn about that? Were we slightly unlucky in that game? We'll get the panel's view on all of that. We're also talking about our most favourite injury time winner that Burnley have scored in their history. We're also getting our view on the World Cup draw and who from Burnley do we think is going to shine in next summer's tournament. And we're up to letter I, of course, in our A to Z of Burnley FC. Jordan, Dan, and Connor are back with us. How are you doing, fellas? Let's start with you, Connor. Since we last saw you, Jaden Anthony is your favourite player has been benched and brought back. Is that the right decision?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is time for a refresh, and I agree with these wholeheartedly. I don't think he's been up to scratch. He was up to scratch in his run of games. You saw against Crystal Palace, the subs, when they were made pretty early on in the second half. Brun Larson on the left, Edwards on the right, they changed the game. How they didn't start against Newcastle, I don't know. No, I think Jaden, his time's up. He can always work his way back into the squad, but I think a rest is what he needs.
All right. Let's get into it then, Jordan. Parker out is now, well, it was I think trending at one point on UK Twitter. Has he got the Fulham game to save himself?
It could go tonight for me personally. I'm not gonna beat on the wrong drum here. It's tactically nothing changes. In that game, we had no oomph about us at all. The penalty turned it round, and you can argue Fleming sort of did that on his own and maybe injected a bit of passion into the lads. Anthony, he's undroppable, isn't he, for Scott Parker? And as he showed with that last chance we had, it bounced right in front of his feet, and he didn't even swing a foot at it, nor even think it was in front of him. So no, he could go tonight for me, because I'm not having a repeat of company ball, and I know it's not a company ball, but it is getting into that same rhetoric where it's square pegs round holes, nothing's working. Everyone at the club seems fed up. Brun Larson coming out at half time, standing there, looking up at the sky. I mean, people saying he's done that a long time. I've never seen him do it before, so I don't know if that's talk as well. There's a bit of unsettlement. And I'm not saying I dislike Scott Parker. As a man, I really like him. In fact, I like his philosophy. I like what he brings. However, I don't think he's up to scratch. So it could go tonight for me, and I don't think I'd be fussed.
Okay, thanks. Really passionate there, John. Dan, last week you were like, no, let's give him a couple more games. Has he got the Fulham game for you, or?
I think I'll give him the Fulham game. I'm going to kind of slightly disagree with Jordan there. I thought against Palace we were in control, and then they score a really rubbish goal, and it's just a cut and paste repeat of the goal we conceded against Chelsea, and it's so frustrating. Anthony's at the back post, he's lost his marker, and they score a very poor goal, and then he makes the subs, and the subs, in my opinion, did change that game. We become more attacking, more aggressive. And Brun Larson, takes a shot. The keeper's never making a better save in his career. And in fairness, he made a decent save in the first half against Anthony, ironically. But I still agree with Jordan in that, and with Connor, that he was terrible. The only thing is that Dubravka pulls off 2 or 3 decent saves as well, which is then when you look at the flip side of the coin, you start thinking, hang on a minute. And again, with Newcastle, we started brilliantly. We were positive. We were pushing him. We're on the front foot. We're thinking, and he's changed the formation. He's changed the personnel. And you're thinking, right, this is a bit more like it here, boys. At about 7 or 8 corners, we were all over him. And then they've obviously done the homework on Dubravka, because I think whoever scores the first goal, name escapes me, but he's a
Bruno Guimaraes.
He used to be a teammate of his, so I think that's premeditated, because he do it 2 or 3 times. Gordon tried it in the second half as well. Possible foul on Dubravka. I think if that's at the other end, it's given, but it wasn't. I'm not going to whinge too much because it was soft if it was given, but even still. And then the game changes when Pires gets himself sent off. We're then backs against the walls and what have you. But we were positive. We were pushing the game. We were trying to put our stamp on it. In saying that, though, we were so open at the back. They hit the bar twice. Gordon hits the post. So it was exciting football, but was it staying up football? And we get beat comfortably 2-1. So I'm not Parker out yet. I know Jordan is, and I know Connor is probably a bit on the fence. I think if we get less than 3 points against Fulham, I'm jumping on board with these boys.
Okay. Dominic says, "Evening, fellas." Hi, evening to you, Dominic. How are you doing?
Evening, Dom.
Yeah, we're going live this week because we're dealing with lots of different debates here. Dom, tell us if you're Parker in or Parker out. We'll get your views on it as well. Let's have a look at social media takes from the game then, shall we? Connor, then we'll get your view of it. Me says, get him out of the club, poor tactics, bringing Worrell and Laurent and the useless Anthony on. If we had gone with nothing to lose in the second half, we could have got something from that game. 6 defeats, and now it is time for a change. Connor, do you agree?
Now, I'm starting to. I really am. I don't know if you saw a tweet I made. I think it was after Palace. I was saying, well done, Scott Parker. I praised all the things he did well. It even made
You
it
got
onto
the rins for that, didn't you?
I know. It even made Instagram people hated me that much. My thoughts have changed a bit, especially bringing the likes of Worrell and Laurent on 2-0 down away at St James's Park, 10 men. What have we got to lose? There's no point trying to defend, possibly conceding more. And you saw bringing Fleming on, he changes the game, and that sitter right at the end, he should have scored. It's tough. It's tough. And I think if we don't beat Fulham, then it might be his time. And I might start agreeing, but I like him a lot. I think he's a good gaffer, but maybe a bit.
Like you say that against Newcastle, though, with 10 men down for all of the second half, we get a goal back and we could have got a point at the death. So you start looking at you thinking, I know it's ifs and ands and pots and pans and all that nonsense, but it's just you start thinking, is he all that bad or was he just unlucky on Saturday? But I agree. I think if we look, and I don't mean a point, and if we don't win against Fulham, I think it's his time.
But you've got to look at the bigger picture, I think. You've got to look at the bigger picture, and there's more to it than that. If you'd have snagged that point, I'm actually, controversially, I'm happy Anthony did absolutely fluff that ball, because then he'd have been started the next game. As far as I'm concerned, that's how Scott Parker works. So I am kind of glad he missed it, because we don't need him. But West Ham were a joke. Crystal Palace, come on, what were we doing? Leeds are making Ellen Road a bloody fortress. Why can't we do that with Turf Moor? I've run out of excuses for him. This is my problem now. I am running out of excuses. If we'd have beat Palace or even drawn with Palace and given one hell of a game and then gone to St James's Park and lost 2-1, I'd have been like, you take the smooth with the rough. Palace were a good team, whatever. But we didn't even do that. We can't even make Turf Moor a fortress. Now, you can call Sean Dyche what you want, but he made Turf Moor a fortress.
Dominic's got back to us. Cheers, Dominic. Says Parker in for a few reasons. Number one, can't see anyone who'd replace him who'd get more out of these players. Two, I think he brings us back up, which we discussed last week, didn't we? As a reason to probably keep him. And three, he's learning game by game. See he wants more. He also goes on saying more attacking yesterday. I think he'll do well moving forward. Jordan, how do you respond to that?
I like Dom. I like Dom a lot, and I think he makes some really, really good points. And he's a staunch watcher of us. He watches every week. I don't. But I've got to be, as much as I like Dom, I've got to be. There is always someone for the job. But personally, I think. I'm going to sound like the Burnley way now, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't a bad shout, and I think we have the means to pull somebody like that. I was a bit lacklustre. Well, I think we all remember. I was a bit lacklustre when we pulled Scott Parker in the first place because I thought the ambitions of the club were a little bit bigger than that. And now that we are in the Prem, they have to be bigger than that. Look at what these managers are currently doing. I mean, look at Regis Labrise, is it Sunderland? He's run off with it. Look at Daniel Farker. Okay, he can have some slip-ups, but he's very, it's very 50-50 with him. He has a brilliant game, and then he has a really bad one. But at least they're getting them brilliant games. With Scott Parker, it's just loss, draw, but he backs against the wall for 90 minutes. I don't see what changes he makes. A January transfer window isn't going to do anything because we don't have much money left to spend before we breach FFP. So what do we do?
Connor?
I agree with Dom. I think all of it. He raised a valid point for all of them. I do think if we do go down, he's a good man to take us back up. I'm a bit iffy about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He didn't do that well at Besiktas, was it? That was his last club. He didn't do well there at all, I don't think. He got sacked, I think. He did well with a poor Man United side, but that was around COVID time, weren't it? And you saw the only time when it wasn't COVID, he did badly. So I think Ole's a bad shout. And again, like you said, we have no one to spend on players. What money do we spend on a good gaffer? And what gaffer's going to get the best out of these players as Scott Parker is? I think I agree with Dom, actually.
Sam Allardyce, get big Sam.
All right,
let's
let's
go.
He's busy, isn't it?
That would just complete your full set of dinosaurs, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. One more from this one. Mike Trezor was, but I mean, DJ not bringing Trezor in is a sackable event in itself. Roll on Fulham. Already, and it's Sunday, Monday, but looking at these tweets, Dan, there feels a lot of pressure on this Fulham game. Seeing a lot of Burnley fans saying it's all about Fulham. If he can beat Fulham, pick up 3 points, we'll back him and we'll stick with him. But does that put pressure on the atmosphere at Turf Moor? Imagine if you went 1-0 down on Saturday, do you think the players will feel that? If the fans are feeling it already now, this is a must win.
I imagine they will do. I mean, I don't know how much the atmosphere translates onto the players, how much they can ignore it, how much it does give them a buzz. You're forever hearing people saying you're our 12th man, so get behind us, and we'll see what happens. But the atmosphere at the Turf has been a bit flat this season compared to what it was last. Of course, when you're winning, it's a lot better. But yeah, I think if it gets to half time and it's 0-0, or worst case scenario, we get to half time and we're a goal or two down, I think then it will become a toxic atmosphere. And I think that's something which we haven't had at the Turf for a while. I think even under Company, they gave him a load of grace before they started turning on him. And I don't think they properly did. Even towards the end, there's a few boos and what have you, but there was no, real kind of vitriol hatred towards him, where we've had that before some managers. When we had it, Brian Laws kind of didn't ingratiate himself with people. And other managers that were kind of booed out and thrown out the club. I think on Saturday, if we do go down 1-0, or if it's 0-0 towards the end of the match, I think the atmosphere can change, and I think that pressure will build, and I think that the players must feel where the fans are. There's not a lot of teams in this division that would put up with 6 losses in a row, let alone 7. Connor. But there is, I think it will turn, and I think it will turn. I think it will turn badly for Parker, and I think if he gets to a defeat on Saturday, and it is a lot of pressure, I think he either does the honourable thing, or what's the old saying? You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Unfortunately for him, it's the latter. One
thing I got to say is, you mentioned Company not getting a few views here and there. I think it is one of the main reasons. I get it's atrocious form, but you saw it last season as well during that 0-0 phase, and that was a bad phase. I think it is just as well a factor. It's Scott Parker. You look at Fulham, you look at Bournemouth. You already got them fans saying, "Oh, well, he was atrocious. Get him out." I think it's as well the stigma of it. It's Scott Parker. Company, it's he plays good. He can play good football, can't he? It's his first English job, whatever. And I think Parker does get treated unfairly for that. I mean, Norwich last season, I think when we won 2-1, fans were still calling for him to be sacked then. And it's like we're sitting like second or third. It was something ridiculous early on. And I think it is just as well because it's Scott Parker, but nothing does excuse 6 or 7 losses in a row.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the nation can watch it, can't they? 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. Burnley against Parker's old team, Fulham. Too early to call it a 6-pointer? Yes. We can't have 6-pointers in December, can we? But yeah, massive game. Great points, all of you. Thank you, all of you, for watching. Do drop your comments in as well. Put some of these on the screen as well. Dom says, I can see the Parker out brigade, but to be honest, maybe I'm biased because he's such a nice guy. Yeah, we have to buy that. He is... they're all decent fellas, aren't they? We've been asking this week because we've seen more 90th minute goals in the Premier League this season than we have at any other stage of the Premier League. Most of them coming in Burnley's net. But no, I'm just joking. Just a joke. But Scott is asking the question: which is our favourite 90th minute winner Burnley have scored in our history watching the club? Get your answers in the comments, and we'll definitely read some of these out. Then, anyone got a favourite that springs to mind straight away? You know that moment where you've jumped out your seat.
I've got
Jordan?
a corker. I've got against Rotherham in the company season, and it was Halil Dervisoglu who scored in the 94th minute, were it, to make it 3-2. But we'd gone down in that game, and it was on that season where we didn't lose. We were turning teams over left, right, and centre, and then with Rotherham, and then they took the lead. It were crazy. Like the atmosphere were vile. Manny Benson that's a name from the past, isn't it? Manny Benson give the ball away. They went 2-1 up. He redeemed himself and scored, and then Halil in the last few seconds, just, and that's all he ever did. I think he
10
come off
minutes
that 10
had
minutes.
gone and all, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was mental.
Any others?
Oh, for me. Oh, go on.
No, you go, Connor. Go on.
And this isn't because it's against Everton, but I just really like it.
Okay, where's the mute button?
Cast your mind back to Sean Dyche's last season. It might have been a couple of games before he got sacked, actually. Richarlison makes it 2-1. I hate him a lot. And then what minute was it now? Whatever minute it was, Cornet steps up after
Corner.
Pidger pulls it back. I mean, that was electric. I think the roof physically came off turf more there. I loved it. And because it was against Everton as well. So
That was the first game I ever took my partner Chloe to, and at the end of that game, I was like, "Look, don't ever go again." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because that's as good as it gets. It doesn't get better than that."
Dan?
Mine's going back a bit further away. It wasn't technically a winner. It's an injury time equaliser. It was against Brighton in 2016 April. We were going up under Dyche from the Championship back into the Premier League. And there's a famous bit of commentary from Phil Bird, who does a lot of the Turf Moor commentary, where there'd been a disallowed goal ruled out, and there's been some controversy over it. And then Michael Keane bangs in an header from about 5 yards. I was there. I was supposed to be off sick, but anyway, I was there. Behind the net, we score. There's a commentary where he just says, "Justice, that's justice," and what have you. The bigger thing for me, so it was brilliant. It was an amazing atmosphere. Brighton fans were fantastic as well, to say they just conceded in the last minute to make it 2-2. But what was funny is my sister went on. She's not a big football fan, but she used to live down south. And I turned around at half time. She went, "Oh, some of the Brighton fans have shown me the finger." I was like, "Don't worry about it, Caroline. It's just football. Just ignore it." Anyway, when that one turns in, I turns around and stewards are holding her back. I'm like, "Just calm down. Just calm down." But yeah, I thought that was a belter, absolute belter.
Well, Dom's put one in here. Was it Barnes against Palace? 3-2.
Oh, that were a good
No,
one.
Yeah. Good chance. Brilliant. Right.
It was.
World Cup draw this week. Who do we think is going to be the main Burnley star of the World Cup? Who we're going to be hearing?
Lau Foster.
Of
going to be
course.
banging him.
Hannes Delcourt.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Of course. Yeah. Brilliant. Could be forgot about him.
I tried to put him in worst XI bloody last season. Let's not talk about him.
Right, finally this week then, the letter I for our A to Z. If you've been following this on one entry per letter of the alphabet for a moment in Burnley's history or a player that deserves to go into the annals. Tough one this week for you or not?
Yeah, there's an answer.
It was all right. Yeah.
Go on then, Dan.
No, we you two boys know what this answer is, don't you?
Danny Ings, come on.
Who put the ball in the net? Super Danny. Oh. That's got to be. There's not many more. Yeah. Anybody else getting more?
No.
I'm going to wind you up, Dan, and say Chris Uwalumo, because I know you're not keen.
No. Someone put that on Twitter or on the comments actually last week. Someone put him on.
I saw it.
I forget.
You were dreadful with Uwalumo.
Yeah, I think
Stoke put him in there. A to Z. Chris Uwalumo. Yeah.
And can I just say as well, just while we're on it, every single time I watch a Burnley game and Chris Uwalumo's on commentary, he just hits on us all game long. But hang on, Chris, we used to pay your wages. Learn your place.
He scored 3 against Preston. Just ignore him. It's fine. Connor, do you have anybody else?
Well, I wasn't around to see him play before you even get asked that. It was from my granddad. He watches every week. I don't know if he's watching now. If you are, hello.
Hello, Connor's granddad.
It's Willie Irvin, signed from Linfield at 16 years, 126 appearances, 78 goals, and I won't go through his entire Wikipedia page, but he was born 1943. There we go.
There we are. Super.
The only other one I had, well, there's two. One proper bends the rules, and I know you get mad at us when we use first names instead of last, but we missed him out on B, and I think he should be in. He
I know you're going to say it.
One of the legends of Burnley. Weren't the best player, but he goes down in history for 1987. Ian Britton.
Ian Britton, yeah.
Now, he scored the goal which saved Burnley becoming a non-league team. In case you didn't know your history, Mark, if you've got 20 minutes, we'll sit down and tell you. But, I know it's bending the rules because it's an Ian rather than, but he's worth a mention. And the only other thing was my dad. Now, I think my dad's possibly as old as Connor's granddad because he said the Interfairs Cup. Right. Now, I can see you've all gone your history. So if not, sit back, take a moment. We beat Napoli, Stuttgart, and eventually got knocked out in the quarterfinals. It was a European Cup back in 1966. So it's got to be in the conversation.
Who did we get knocked out by? Just conveniently.
Frankfurt, Eintracht Frankfurt.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something like really crap, like Walsall knocked it out. We beat Napoli, so it's just very Burnley, isn't
it? No, but I think we could probably say Danny Ings. Danny Ings?
I think Danny Ings. Okay.
Danny Ings.
Right, okay. Put Danny Ings in. Brilliant suggestions all around there. Thank you for all yours as well. Right, easier one next week. We're up to Jay for that one. And of course, we're looking back on how we've done against Fulham as well. Fingers crossed. Good luck. This weekend I'll be obviously rooting for you as I always do, and of course the next home game I'll be there myself as an Evertonian. Brilliant, looking forward to it. Steady on. Jay next week. We'll have to put Jordan in if we can't find any other solutions. So yeah, put
no first names.
No first names.
Hang on. We did actually have a player whose last name was Jordan, so that could have worked. That could have worked.
Drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so. We love making this content for you. 20 minutes of Burnley chat. We know there's longer podcasts. We know there's other Burnley podcasts have been going on for years and years and years, but we love making this content for you. So drop us a quick sub. Drop us a little comment as well. It always makes our day and cheers us up, as long as it's polite and friendly. If you're a troll, you can just do one. But we'll see you next week. Good luck against Fulham. Fingers crossed. See you then.
Yeah.